Boom, boom. This is Kendra, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. All right, we got a bit of Azur laying on top. So the Venus Vacation event has ended. I hope everyone was able to get everything that they wanted from that event. As I said, they had some excellent fleet ships in there. So you definitely wanted to snatch that up if you could. But it's gone. So we have to take a look at what is left, and that is, of course, the shop. So make sure you get in here and purchase everything you want. As you can see, I've already purchased what? I purchased all of the parts. Parts are essential for enhancing your different types of weapons and armor and auxiliary items. You always want to purchase those if you can. I just snatched up some oxycolas just because they were there. And then I purchased the blueprints. Now, this is the blueprints right here, and these are blueprints right here. The DR ships and the priority ships, those are the high-level ships, your Azumas and your FDGs and whatnot. Any ship that requires, in the data collection section, if it requires 1.2 million experience instead of 1 million experience, then it's a DR ship. Okay, so this is what you want to get for your. This is the actual blueprint that you need for your DR ship. So this is for your Azumas and your FDGs. But don't purchase this and expect to get blueprints for this, even though FDG is a season 2 ship. It's not equivalent, and you can't get them for her out of there. So just make sure that you don't get that confused. And if you go into the dock, not the dock, the depot actually, and take a look at the blueprints, because I did purchase some of them. So right here's the blueprints that I purchased, and if you open that up, and as you can see, there is no FDG in here, nor is there an Azuma in here. Okay, so don't purchase this if you're looking for blueprints for the DR ships. And DR ships, just to figure out, if you're not sure, just go to the shipyard. Okay, now this is Azuma is a DR ship, and you can tell that by her data collection. It takes 1.2 million. Now if you look at some of the other ships, I don't know if I have any that I can show that are in process of being built where the fleet's actually open. See if I can do it on some of the, yeah, okay, Cheshire for instance, 1 million. Okay, so she is available on that other one because it's only a 1 million. But I think there's, so if you want, check the ship. If the ship has 1.2 million for its data collection, then it is the ship, and you're going to need the 1,000 blueprint, not the 100 blueprint. So just make sure that. So it's not going to work, and don't get confused. Okay, so this one right here, it costs 1,000 Venus points. That's for your DR ships. So don't get that mixed up, because it's very unfortunate to spend a bunch of, spend 500 Venus points on a bunch of these, only to find out that you don't have the ship that you want. So do that. But so I didn't have, I just purchased Misaki in this simply because I got her from the build. And this is what I purchased. So that's everything for the event. So that's all that's left. Now, there is one more event up. We got the new, the Enigma and the Shark. This is a rerun event. It allows you to get a limited ship U-110. Well, let me say a limited sub U-110, which Ironblood sub. If you do not have her, this is the way that you get her. It's going to be up until 12/21. At 12/21, this event will close, and we'll have our Christmas event. I'm going to try to get some information on that and do a little video on it a little bit later as to what to expect. So I do not have U-110. All right, let me show you what I got here. Go to the dock, do the sort. Ironblood, of course, because a U ship is always an Ironblood sub, and SS for subs. And as you can see, I have a few, but I do not have U-110. So I'm going to have to get her. I believe this event came out, I think I had just started my account when this event came out, and I was unable to get the requirement to get to 60. So there's a steep requirement for her. This is an extremely farm intensive event. Okay, you've got 10 days, 11 days actually, and you've got to run SP3 60 times. Not the SP1 and SP2 don't count. So basically get through those as fast as you can and get to SP3, and then just start focusing on SP3. And you're going to have to run SP3, 8 or 9 times a day to get, to get your 60 blueprints or 60 completions on that, so that you can get the ship. Unfortunately, the ship is also in the construction, so you can build her. So make sure you do your builds, your daily builds of 3 at least. Maybe you get lucky. If you hit her in here, then you don't have to worry about completing the event. But it's a very farm intensive event. They did offer the reward of, the update bonus maintenance compensation. So you will have an extra 2,500 oil to assist when the massive farming that you're going to have to do to get 60 completions on SP3. But is she worth it? Subs really aren't meta in this game, to be quite honest. I do have a sub fleet, and I do focus on it simply because I like the fact that they have subs, and I like the fact that occasionally they can help out with a little bit of damage, but you really have to focus on them. It's hard to level up the ship simply because of the fact that they're only available through certain, the red highlighted section on the when you go to sortie. So there's not a chance to use them on every single sortie as you can on the ships. So it takes a little bit longer to level them up. So the easiest way to level them up is to, of course, stick them in the 18,000 commission, and then stick them in your dorm. And that way you can level them up pretty quick. It's something I have not focused on because a lot of mine aren't maxed out. I try to get them to at least 70 so that I can fully lemon break them if I need to. But there are a few subs I'm going to start focusing on. But right now I'm just focusing on getting my fleets to where they're at, so that when Operation Siren drops, I have multiple fleets to knock things out. So I'm working on the IGN fleet right now. My US fleet's ready. My HMS fleet is pretty much ready. I've got a few little holes there. I'm actually going to be taking out Hood and putting Monarch in place there. But I still need to get Edinburgh, my tank, up a little bit more. And then I've got my Ironblood fleet, which is ready to go too. So I'm ready to go pretty much on just about everything that they have. I have a bunch of other ships that, like there's Monarch. I've got a bunch of other ships that I'm working on as well too. Some of the higher tier SR ships. Operation Siren, from what we've understand to this point, at least from what we've understand, where they've had it in the international, it's open in some of the, Japan and areas like that, and over in Asia. It's going to be an event, like right here in the center. There's going to be an icon for it. Okay, you'll be able to go into it. You'll have access to your entire fleet, your dock from within the event, so you'll be able to change things out. They're going to be increasing ship levels past 120. They're also going to be increasing enhancements for your items. A lot of the mats, materials that are required to do this, are going to be inside of Operation Siren. So you're going to have to play it if you want to continue to, keep up with the meta and continue to max your count. So I wanted to have as many fleets available so that when the event does drop, we're not sure when. We're probably going to see it next year sometime, since it's already out in Asia. We usually get it, not too far off the pace. So I expect to see it sometime first quarter next year. So, but I want to have the fleets that I can go and do that. So you need to be focusing on that. You might want to focus first on an IGN fleet, because the IGN fleet has a pretty good setup for going up against Siren ships. So you might want to focus on them first if you're still deciding between fleets. If not, and you can't, it's hard to get up an IGN fleet because Kagi and Akagi are the two were the two ships that you needed to do the backfield, to have the strongest backfield. You had Nagato as the flagship, Akagi and Kaga on the flanks, and that gave you one of the strongest backfields in the game. You could still get a strong backfield now doing what I do, because I put 3-4 normal is what you farm for Akagi and Akaga, and I've spent so much time in there. I got Kaga, but I never did get Akagi, and it just got to the point where I was just sick of running 3.4. They need to increase the drop rate on that, or at least have events where for like a couple of days they'll increase the drop rate so that people have a chance to get those ships if they want to. But that's no longer an issue now, because with the introduction of Shinano, the first UR based ship, meaning she was UR when you get her, that's no longer an option. I now have Nagato flanked with Shinano and Tehu Yu, which is a pretty good ship in her own right from the Polaris universe. And I've put some Polaris items on these two to give her some more damage. So this, as you can see, I'm at 13. I'm already at over 13,000 power on my main, but I haven't even got these two maxed out yet. None of them are actually maxed out. She's not done either, and they all get a buff stat, huge buff at 120. So as you can see, this is going to be an extremely powerful fleet. I might be able to get 15, over 15, maybe close to 16,000 power on this particular backline. So as you can see, this is going to be a pretty strong backline, definitely comparable with your Kagis and Kagas. And front line is, of course, good. I've got Nishiro, an excellent tank. Yuka Cause. I just love Yuka Cause because of her kit. She's got one of the most unusual kits, and it works out perfectly for survivability. And then we've got, of course, we've got a Toggle over here, the cutie with the ears, who consistently likes to jump off of her square for some reason. She can't sit still. So as you can see, pretty active here from their squares. But yeah, so that's what. Yeah, so there's other, the meta is constantly changing. It's not necessary to have those two before. If you really wanted to have a successful fleet, those were the two best. I mean, you had Zukaku and Shokaku, another tandem that you could use in place of Kagi and Akaga. They were less powerful, but again, they were tandem off of each other. I had both of them, but and I was really considering focusing on them and making them the staple of my Aegean fleet. Fortunately, they came out with Shinano, and that changed the decision for me. And Shinano is effectively has broken the stranglehold on the Nagato Akagi and Akaga backfield. You now have other options for your backfield, and you can be really successful because Shinano is a beast. She just does a ton of damage. So you definitely, but she's a UR ship as is expected from a UR ship. And she offers buffs, so you've actually got Shinano and Nagato buffing your ships. Both, so you got two buffs out of the fleets, such as in the Ironblood fleet, for instance, you've got Bismarck buffing. You've got HMS fleet, you've got Queen Elizabeth buffing, which really only usually have one ship that does as a flagship position that can buff. Well, in this one you got two. Shinano buffs aviation, so putting in another aircraft carrier opposite her is a no-brainer, simply because they're going to get a buff. Not only they're going to get the buff from Nagato, but they're also going to get the buff from Shinano. So it's just a no-brainer. Shinano and Tahu are a pretty good effective combination to get up there. And as you can see, for the power that I've got, and they're not maxed out, they're definitely going to be a force to deal with once they're fully maxed out at 120 with all their equipment maxed out and their skills maxed out. So I'm working on that right now. Should have it ready for the first quarter of next year, which is when Operation Siren's going to drop. All right, so go ahead and get in there, knock this out. And the Enigma and the Shark, 60 times SP3 to get you 110. Or you can get lucky and build her in the sortie. And you won't have to worry about it, and you won't have to farm it. So build here. Hopefully you get lucky. It's a rate up, so you probably get her if you're consistent about it. I'm going to run the event just simply because I need to level up my Aegean fleet, so I might as well just do it inside of this event. And because while I'm doing it, I'm of course focusing on the beauty, who is Azuma, who is effectively considered to be a cheat ship by some people. I believe the term used by some is that putting a 9,000 hit point tank in your Vanguard in PvP is just flat out cheating. And that's what she is. She does. As you can see, she's got an S on her hit points. And as you know, in PvP, the backline pretty much avoids damage until the Vanguard's been eliminated. So if your Vanguard never gets eliminated, all those ships are going to be focusing on her, while the backline's going to be free to rain holy heck down upon you with HE shells and or aircraft if they're aircraft carrier. So having her back there is just, so I just thought I'd go ahead and do her. But I've finished with the FTG in terms of the build part. I'm now working on getting the blueprints, so I just thought I'd go ahead and jump to Zoom. That way I could do that and get an extra benefit from the fleet. Always make sure that if you're going to be using one fleet for farming, and you should, then make sure that you got a priority ship set up that is in concert with that fleet. Don't be running your Ironblood fleet and have Azuma set as your priority ship, because that's useless, because the way they earn data collection experience points is through a fleet ships of the same faction. So if you're going to run your Ironblood fleet, make sure you have an FDG or a Mains or an Odin in there, which is an Ironblood ship. Make sure that you have a faction ship that matches your faction fleet when you're doing your priority ships, so that you always get the actual, experience points from running that fleet go towards, completing the priority ship. And you should be focusing on priority ships because those are the most powerful ships in the game. That's why there's specialty and special items to required to build them, and it takes time to actually get the blueprints to actually max them out, because they are powerful. So they want to make it, it's not just, it's something that you don't really need to be veterans to actually do it, but in some ways you do, because a lot of the ships like the FDG and Azuma, they have higher faction tech points. So you have to limit break a number of, like to do FDG, you have to limit break like 5 or 6 Ironblood ships until they're fully limit broke to get fleet points, the tech points, so that you can then allowed to actually start the development stage on the actual ship. So it is sort of a veteran, but you can get some of the priority season 1 and season 2 ships fairly early in the game and in experience. Always be checking into your shipyard and making sure that you can see which ones are available. Okay, like see, I can develop Seattle anytime I want, because it only takes 700 points. Those points are inside of the fleet tech, so you have to max out. You have to max out ships, and as you max those ships out, you'll be able to get enough tech points to actually begin the development process. Okay, so yeah, but that's what it is. So the Enigma and the Shark is up, and it will be until the 21st. So get in there and farm that event to get to SP3, and then start focusing on that. You're gonna have to run it probably 5, 6, 7, 8 times each day if you want to hit 60 before 12/21. And then of course at 12/21 this event will of course go away bye-byes, and our Christmas event will pop up, which I'm going to do a video on here once I get some more information on it. All right, so thanks a lot for watching the video. Go ahead and put a like on it if you do like it. You can share it if you want as well. Also, remember to subscribe to that channel. Once you subscribe, you'll see a little bell ding ding. If you click on that, you'll get notified each time I drop a video. So this is Kendrick coming at you from the corner, signing out.